Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Lake and I work in new business development here at IREX, which means I manage and write proposals for IREX to implement programs such as a community solutions program. During this module, we'll discuss why it is so important to develop skills in proposal development, to prepare to write a proposal and find a donor, and then we'll cover what goes into a proposal and how to best write it. By the end of this module, you'll learn to prepare for an opportunity, search for opportunities, and compile a basic proposal. Developing skills and gaining knowledge around proposal writing is important for your community work because, as you've discussed with Jackie and others in previous CSP sessions, project success depends on many factors, one of which can be financial support. Knowing how to develop proposals for direct funding or partnerships for your projects can help you secure the budget you'll need to implement your projects. As of now, you've completed a short IREX proposal for your community action project. This week, we'll dive into more detail about how to write a more complex proposal. The top 4 things to know are: 1. It's important to be as prepared and proactive as possible. 2. There are many places to find funding opportunities. 3. Organize your proposal well, write clearly and concisely. 4. Create an accurate project budget to present to donor if asked. Now we'll go through the main steps in preparing and developing a proposal. Number 1, gathering intelligence, preparing for an upcoming opportunity. One easy material to put together to prepare for looking for funding and for finding partners is a fact sheet about your organization. You'll talk more about partnerships in a later session with Jackie, but you can use these fact sheets for both partners and potential donors. You'll want some basic information about your organization on these fact sheets. They're basically a marketing tool. Think about your audience when you create your materials. They probably won't have much time to read your document, so keep it short and engaging. Use graphics, results, highlight your organization's most important work clearly and concisely. It should be 1 to 2 pages maximum. You can also create several different fact sheets to have ready depending on the situation. For example, IREX works on media and youth projects. So we have fact sheets that speak both about media and youth more generically together, as well as some that speak only about youth in detail. This way, if we're going to a youth event, we can have our youth fact sheets ready to hand out. But if we're going to a general meeting, we can hand out our general fact sheet. Network with other organizations, get a sense of both your competition and potential partners. See where others get their funding and always be on the lookout for upcoming opportunities. Try to go to a few networking sessions a year where donors will be gathered, such as an event or panel discussion. Stay tuned to events in your sector. We'll now conduct a short activity. If you had 10 minutes to explain your organization to a potential donor or partner, what would you say? Remember the elevator pitch you practiced earlier in the program. Your elevator pitch should include the most important details about your work that would be of interest to a potential donor or partner. Now pause the video for 15 minutes to take the information you shared in your elevator pitch and create a draft of your own fact sheet using the provided template. You can continue to improve your fact sheet after the course has ended. If your organization already has one, how could you improve it? Two, finding funding opportunities. There are 2 categories for funding opportunities, solicited and unsolicited. First, I'll explain what a solicited opportunity is. When you write a proposal, you will either be responding to a specific request for proposals, also known as solicitations, that a donor publicizes, or you'll be writing a more generic one to bring to potential donors without being asked. That's unsolicited. To find solicitations, you'll have to do some research. Foreign governments usually post their solicitations online. Look at the U.S. Embassy in your country's website, grants.gov, and other government websites. Where does your own government put out notices, if they do? You can now conduct a short optional activity. If you would like, pause your video now for 15 minutes to do the following. Using the resource on donors provided, spend 10 minutes looking for solicitations that are in your organization's sector or close. Identify 5 opportunities that look interesting and applicable to your work. If the solicitation looks too large or complicated, remember that you can always find a bigger organization to partner with. This is when you would use your fact sheet to approach a larger organization and pitch or share what your organization can bring to the relationship to support the larger project. The second way to submit your proposal is to submit it to a donor unsolicited. This means that either a donor, usually a foundation, has an announcement on their website that anyone can submit a proposal in the foundation's sector. The trick here is that you have to find the donor that funds your type of work. Research similar organization and project as yours. Where do they get their funding? What donors work in your sector? Once you have found a foundation that funds similar work, find their website. How do they accept new project ideas? For example, if you work at an organization whose mission is to provide economic opportunities to low-income women, look for foundations who focus on women empowerment. For these types of proposals, you want to write a shorter version of your proposal, somewhere between the fact sheet and traditional big proposal. You want to write a concept note, about 3 to 4 pages maximum, that gives a short background of your organization and your project idea. Number 3, writing a proposal. Once you determine if you're either going to submit an unsolicited or solicited proposal, you'll then need to start developing the proposal content and materials. You've just developed and submitted a basic proposal to IREX, which allows you to practice solidifying your ideas on paper. I'll now go into a more complex proposal outline. There are a few steps you will want to take before you sit down and start writing. Number 1, know your audience, reviewers. What do they already know about the topic and your organization? For example, if they are experts in your subject area, don't spend too much time explaining the background problems. State enough to prove that you know your subject, but quickly move on to explaining your project. For example, if you're applying for a small grant from your U.S. Embassy for youth and civic engagement to strengthen democracy, you can assume that your background section about the importance of democracy building can be shortened. Number 2, think about design. Have a design meeting before you start writing with your colleagues and partners. Brainstorm the theory of change, which you will cover in the next section on monitoring and evaluation. Brainstorm your win theme. What does your organization have to offer that your competition can't offer? Refer back to the worksheet you completed in the partnership building session in the mid-program workshop, where you brainstormed how your organization is different and offers something unique from others. What are some obstacles your project will have to surmount? And finally, number 3, find your partners if you need any to implement the project and get them on board. Make it clear what role they will have in the project. Find a writer. If you are not a strong writer, consider asking a colleague or finding someone else that is knowledgeable that you can coach to write the proposal. Now it's time to write the proposal. A proposal has several key components. It is helpful for the reviewer if these are easily identifiable. Some funding sources specify their own formats, while others permit the fund seeker to use their own format. A suggested structure is to start with a title page or cover page, then have an executive summary, a single page or at most 2 pages, and then have a section that you could call technical approach. In this section, you'll have the needs analysis background or problem statement, then your approach and strategy, which will have the goals and objectives and your strategic principles if you have any. And the technical approach will also have your program activities, which you should include target group, beneficiaries, and timeline throughout. Another section you could add to your proposal is organizational capacity. This is where you would outline your organization's capacity to implement the project. Finally, you might want to include appendices, any supporting documents, and a budget if asked. These sections are the standard structure for proposals. Now let's dive deeper into some of the project details section that would fall under the technical approach. Here's what you need to know about each of these sections. The goal or development objective describes the overall aim of the project or program. The project goal should be related and compatible with the mission of the donor, and it should justify the project. It may not be possible to achieve the goal through the project, but the project will make a contribution towards achieving it. At this point of your fellowship, you've developed a short proposal for your community action project and workshopped a goal. Revisit that goal and strengthen the wording of it if necessary. Some tips to consider. Focus on the goal towards which the project will make a significant contribution. Occasionally, a project may contribute positively to more than one goal. However, it is important to explicitly identify what the primary goal of the project is. And finally, a goal should ideally be a high-level target that can be achieved in more than one way. The objective of your project is a statement of effects to be achieved in the short term as a result of the project outputs. The successful achievement of each objective, because you could have more than one, as many as you need, contributes to the achievement of the development goal. A good objective usually states what is to be achieved, how it is to be achieved, and who the main beneficiaries are. Generally, the objectives will help to state the desired change or improvement and clarify the goal and the strategy for contributing to that goal. Specify the magnitude of the change or improvements to be achieved, and indicate the timescale for the change or improvement. Do not confuse objectives with the method towards achieving it. Some tips to consider. A project may have more than one specific objective, but focus on the most important one. Try to make the project objective specific. This will make it easier to design a process for achieving the objective, also known as the activities. And finally, try to include specific targets so that the donor is able to evaluate the success. We'll now conduct a very short activity. So here at IREX, from an old proposal, we have the following goal, which was to promote development of free, independent, and sustainable Ukrainian media outlets. IREX will pursue two objectives. Our first objective for this proposal was to provide selected Ukrainian media outlets with short and long-term opportunities to form partnerships with U.S. counterparts. The second objective we had in this proposal was to give selected Ukrainian media outlets the opportunity to participate in practical training experiences organized by their U.S. partner. So these two objectives, to give selected Ukrainian media outlets the opportunity to participate in practical training, and objective one, to provide selected Ukrainian media outlets with short and long-term opportunities to form partnerships, fed in and contributed to the goal, which was really broad, of promoting development of free, independent, and sustainable Ukrainian media outlets. Now, pause the video and take out your community action project proposal that you submitted to IREX. Do you have any changes to make to the goal and objectives? Take 10 minutes to review these. We'll now talk about program activities. This will really be where most of your proposal, most of the information from your proposal will lie. The program activities section will help with planning the project to achieve the objectives specified, and will give an opportunity for the funding agency to access how the project objectives will be achieved. The activities can be developed by answering the following questions. What will be completed under this project? Where will this project be carried out? How will it be done? Who will be involved? What are the outputs? When will the various activities and outputs happen? And how will progress be monitored? Also pay attention to how the project will be evaluated and what resources will be needed to carry out the activities. A project may consist of a number of activities, and usually these activities are listed by objective and in the chronological order in which they are supposed to be implemented. Usually, the activity list is complemented by a work plan that summarizes the timing of inputs, activities, and outputs. In your next course on monitoring and evaluation, you'll learn more about how to create a log frame that you can add to your proposal or as an attachment. Some tips to consider: state the activities such that their implementation can be verified in terms of quantity, time, and place. State activities in terms of actions being undertaken. And finally, make it clear who is responsible for doing the work. We'll now conduct a very short activity. Think about what the major activities of your community action project are that aim to accomplish the objectives you have identified. How would you organize the activities in a proposal to show the donor that they will accomplish the objectives? For example, you can organize the technical approach section of your proposal by objectives, and then write about the activities that would feed into each objective. Pause the video for 5 minutes to think about your activities. In a few moments, I will prompt you to write these thoughts in an outline. Finally, appendices. You may want to include supporting documents depending on the proposal. These could include personnel resumes or CVs, letters from organizations or persons indicating that their proposed contributions to the project, or a full monitoring and evaluation plan. Many funding agencies have their own format for CVs and also a page limit. In the latter case, outline only the most recent and relevant experience of the person. A few generic writing tips. As I mentioned before, always be clear and concise. Avoid complicated sentences. Know your audience. Who do you think will be reviewing your proposal? What do they already know, and what do you need to explain? What style of language would be most attractive to them? Proofread and get another person to copy edit your work. And finally, find someone else to write if you can't. We'll now conduct our final activity. Using the attached template, outline the different sections of your proposal. An effective outline can help you easily write the proposal. Create bullets under each section with what you plan to cover. You will later turn these into texts. Keep in mind that depending on the donor, you might have to change the template. Always look for instructions given by the donor and follow those. Spend approximately 1 hour now outlining a potential proposal given the template. Share your proposal outline with your accountability partner and any other fellows. After you receive feedback, submit your proposal outline as an assignment. In summary, we've gone through how to prepare for an upcoming opportunity by having fact sheets ready, how to find some opportunities online, and how to organize and create a basic proposal. Next, we'll look quickly at how to put together a budget if you are asked to submit one by the donor.